What is going on, gaming nerds? Welcome back to Midnight Gaming with Mr. Designare. Thanks for coming to the channel and hanging out. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. I'm having a pretty decent day. It is midnight yet again and yet again. Finally, we are back on Russian Fishing 4. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the New Year's event. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, everything from rods, reels, lures, and candy, and big blue sacks of wet balls you pull out of the water and have treats inside. So hold on to your butts, you filthy animals. And let's get this party started. All right, I'm just going to say this right here and now. This snowman right here freaks me out. You get close enough and he moves, and it's kind of freaky. You don't want to get any closer. Just be careful, guys, all right? All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to talk about the New Year's event update. All right, so hopefully if I'm smart, I'll go ahead and put the update right on the screen. New Year's Fair are open on the water bodies. English Good America. New Year's gifts are prepared from 25 to 12. I don't know what month 25 is, but I think the devs need to kind of get their configuration of their dates correct because they're using a couple of different types of configuration. It's an annoying. So from 12/25, the 25th of December, Christmas Day, at 10 a.m. CET, 4 a.m. EST, to January 9th, 10 a.m. CET, 4 a.m. EST, fish with a telescopic rod at the festive location on Mosquito Lake and get a chance to catch valuable gifts. That is this little area down there. You'll see a little sign that's down there. We'll talk about that in a minute, and I'll talk about the mechanics of how that works and how to kind of get the fastest wet ball sack collection that you possibly can. All right, so next will be from 12/23, December 23rd, now that they've got the proper configuration of the date right, 1 a.m. CET or 12/22, which is already past, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to January 9th, 10 a.m. CET or 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The happy hour bonus will be valid for all players, and its duration will be doubled for premium members. Now, keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. When it says doubled, that does not mean that it's going to give you double the chances of getting skill ups. And then when you get premium, you get triple the chances of skill ups. It does not stack. That's how I would like it to happen, but it doesn't. What that basically means is you get a free hour of happy hour. And then if you're paying for premium, you get an hour on top of that. So you get a total of 2 hours if you're paying for premium. If you're not, you get 1 free hour of happy hour. Again, I would personally like it to stack. So instead of getting double the chances of a skill up when we're crafting or whatever, I would actually like it to give us triple the chances or just stack on top, but it doesn't. It's basically 2 hours of happy hour. So if you're somebody like me who can drop 20,000 silver on some materials, and then you turn around and you get all of your crafting done that you want to level that day and done in a half an hour or whatever, then you still got an hour and a half left of happy hour. You can go out and you can go float fishing, or you can go bottom fishing. I'll probably end up going bottom fishing, maybe a little bit of float fishing by the time this event is over, and hopefully use that to try and skill up some of my fishing skill. But for the most part, you guys really need to utilize this as leveling your ground bait. If you're a brand new player, you really want to try and get your ground bait up to 50%. If you're an intermediate player, you're on Volkov, you're on Quarry, you should aim for 100%. If you're even a part-time, feeder rod player or bottom feeder, whatever you want, bottom feeder. Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to insult you there. But if you're a bottom fisherman or a feeder rod player where you're bottom fishing, you definitely want to get the ground bait up to 100%. Okay, next is implemented automatic saving of the values of the friction brake force and the speed of rotation in the reel but selected by the player. Basically what this means is when you log out and you log back in, the stuff that is in, at the very least, this right here on your tool belt is going to be saved. Okay, so if you log out, log back in, and you pull one of these out, they're going to be saved. I don't think it saves it for all of it, because that would suck having to make an integer every single time and save the integer's values or whatever when it comes down to the scripting of the game. But I know for a fact it at least does these over here. The last one, or next to the last one, is added remember item in hand option to the game settings. Basically what this means is When you log out, if you've got something in your hand, you log back in with it in your hand. Now, this is kind of iffy because if you're on the boat and you log out, you come back to the shore with nothing in your hand if you log out on the boat. But if you're on the shore, you log out and you come back in, you'll still have something in your hand that you had when you logged out. Does that make sense? That's what I found out so far. You guys can add to that if you found something else. And last but not least, the minimum level of in-game competitions is no longer limited by the water body. Where the match is being held, the creator can now choose the parameters. This is something that should have been in the game a very long time ago. Okay, that being said, let me go ahead and pull up my notations when it comes down to what we're going to do. First, I'm going to go ahead and go into here, and we're going to talk about the food in here. All of this is just candy and snacks that does nothing for you. Other than fill up your food bar. Now, some of you are like, oh, I don't ever use food in the game, Mystic. I don't need any of this. You guys have to understand this. There is a small percentage of regeneration for your energy if you have food in your player's stomach. I know some of you are already typing, no, that's not true. Yes, it is. Trust me. If you let your food go down to red and then you dig, you can watch how fast your energy will come back. And then go ahead and eat a few things of food that puts your food into yellow or the green, and you'll see your energy will come back ever so slightly a little bit faster. It's not a huge boost, or it's not a huge bonus. It's not like, you know, coffee or tea or anything, but it does help. Because what happens is when you dig or when you're fighting a fish and your energy is regenerating, your food from your food bar in the bottom left down there will actually be replaced. It will go down as your energy kind of goes up. It takes a while for the food to go all the way down, but your food does actually go down, so it helps to regenerate some of your energy. So you should at least keep your food in the yellow. I don't know if it's yellow or orange, I'm colorblind, but keep it out of the red. Yellow, orange is fine, and you can use some of the snacks like here, like this Bulbic. It's just basically a donut. It doesn't fill you up that much. I've had these for over a year. I've had all of this stuff. I haven't really used it, but you can use some of these. This will actually fill you up completely, so you may not want to buy that. So when it comes down to the food, that's really all this is. You guys know what alcohol does. If you get tipsy on the alcohol, you can get a bonus to experience. The glasses of vodka are too bloody expensive for each portion. I wouldn't even buy it. Most of this stuff is pretty expensive. Just buy simple beer. Buy the stuff on Volkhov River that's off on the hidden alcohol area. But there is something, a couple of things you might want to consider. The first is a cup of tea. Remember how the devs were having a hard time keeping up the servers for the last 3 days, which is why I couldn't do this video? It's mostly because people were coming in and buying this thinking this is a good deal. This actually kind of really isn't a good deal. If you go into the grocery store and you go into tea, you go into tea and you buy this, you can get for 6 silver, you can get 10 portions. This isn't actually just 10 cups of coffee or cups of tea. This is 60 cups of tea. Okay, I'll prove it right now. If you come down here, here's my thermos of tea. I've got 58 portions, and that's because I accidentally wasted my happy hour today taking 10 portions of the tea and crafting it into 60 portions. So hopefully you guys can respect the sacrifice of my happy hour today and send me a Vega 10,000. I'm just kidding. Okay, so when it comes down to it, this isn't really the greatest deal, and a lot of people think that the servers were going down because people were buying so much of this. There's a possibility of that, but I highly doubt it. Anyway, for 50 portions, it's 16 silver, so you might as well just go with the regular tea when it comes down to energy regeneration. However, I have tested this out, and you guys know the really good stuff that you use to bring up your comfort level when you're cold and it's raining. Hot cocoa. Hot cocoa is bloody expensive to make. This stuff is actually cheaper because with the hot cocoa, you need the cocoa mix and you need the milk. This stuff is actually cheaper, and this works almost as good as hot cocoa. So it's really good. I know some of you are already typing, oh, Mystic, I use the tea or I use the coffee. That's fine, but hot cocoa is better to bring up your comfort level when it comes down to that. And this is actually on the level of hot cocoa. So you may want to consider it for that. But in my opinion, when it comes down to tea, if you're just trying to replace the tea, you might as well just go and buy the tea and make it yourself. These aren't really that cost effective. However, for you higher level players, Bitten Bitten is really good stuff. I tried a couple of this out and it says it's warm. So what I went ahead and did is I went out to Ladoga Archipelago and I got stuck in a thunderstorm where my comfort was dropping down to 50%. I had 2 of these. It filled my comfort up 100% and it kept me at 100% comfort for much longer, it felt like, than cocoa or coffee or tea. So you may want to consider it. Yes, it is expensive for 50 portions, but if you're in a situation where you're in a really bad storm and your comfort is dropping like a rock, you can pop a couple of these bad boys. They will help keep your comfort up higher so you can concentrate on your fight. So when it comes down to the food, it doesn't really do much for you. Just keep your food in the yellow when it comes down to fighting fish or digging, and your body should replace some of that food with energy and you're basically good to go. So that's really all this is. It doesn't give anything special, and that's basically it. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the new wonderful whatchamacallit that's going to be happening, the wet ball sacks of catching really cool stuff. When it comes down to this game, this little mini game, all you're really going to do is you're going to come in, you're going to take your telly stick, you're going to come out here to this little thing right here. There's going to be a sign right there that says happy birthday or something like that. Then you're going to throw this in and you're going to wait for a fish. Now, the way the mechanics works on this is you have a chance to catch a fish if you're using the right bait. If you hook into a fish, you have also a small chance that that fish, once you hook into it, will turn into a new event sack that you can pull in and you can open up. There's sacks that you can get very easily, very quickly. There are sacks that are slightly harder, and then there's sacks that you can only get if you have premium. They're usually like striped sacks, striped colored sacks. So what you're going to do is you're going to cast it in and you're going to have a chance once you hook into a fish. So you want to put bait on and a small enough hook that you can get a fish with. I think I've got a size 1 on, that's why I'm not catching anything. Yeah. So you want to put something small. I would probably try a size 18 would be your best bet, because with 18s you can get, then I would try red worm, regular worm, or night crawlers. You could also do maggots for roach if you wanted to do that. And if you've got sandwich bait, you can actually try maggots and like red worms or whatever. Go ahead and cast that in there, and you'll have a chance when a fish bites and you hook it that it'll turn into a sack. However, you also have a chance that it will turn into a kettlebell. Kettlebells suck donkey butt when it comes to this, because they're super, super heavy. And when it comes down to your telly stick rods, you probably only got like a 4 kilogram or a 6 kilogram. So what happens when you actually get into that 4 or 6 kilogram weight limit, holy cow, you're gonna come in, that's a tench. Is basically what you're going to do is you're going to cast in, you're going to hook into it, and you'll know when you've got a kettlebell, trust me. It's going to be heavy and you're not going to be able to pull it in. It's not even going to come out of the water. So here's what you want to do. You want to back up along the dock here. You want to kind of pull the kettlebell over to the side. You can use your backup while you're doing it. Pull it off to the side, get it off to the side of the ramp, and then you just want to back up, and keep backing until you get it all the way up to the shore. Then you can run up and pick up your kettlebell. Okay, it's as simple as that. I am stuck. Okay, I usually do probably about 1 or 2 kettlebells, and then you stupid game, there we go. I usually do 1 or 2 I'm stuck again, oh my gosh. Okay, as I was saying, for sentimental reasons, I do about 2 kettlebells, and then I throw the rest of them away. You can't use them for anything. You can decorate your house with them if you want to, but that's kind of how this works. The faster you catch fish, the faster you're going to catch sacks, blue sacks of balls or whatever. And the faster you catch sacks, the faster you're going to get items. Some of the items, hook boxes, bait boxes. This is a hook box with a whole bunch of Berserker Rage hooks that I got last year. You can get candy, whole big old box of candy. You can get beer, alcohol. I've got Woodman box of beer up here. I've got this box of beer and just beer everywhere. When it comes down to the more rare sacks, like the striped ones, people are saying, oh yeah, I got a Venga last year. I don't know what you can get out of it, but I do believe you can get some pretty cool things out of them. Is it worth it? I don't know. It's really up to you guys. I mean, it's only $3 for like 3 days of premium, so it's not really super expensive or anything else like that. But when it comes down to it, it's up to you if you want to try for it. You're going to be spending a lot of time on the docks here when this happens. So when it comes down to buying your stuff up here at the event shop, make sure you get this stuff before the event happens. That way you don't have to waste a bunch of time or a bunch of silver up here dorking around. Okay, next let's talk about all of this stuff in here. I am going to talk about each one. You see this? Garbage. Absolute positive garbage. Why? It's a braided line at 31 kilograms that has a 0.45 millimeter width. It's too big. It's going to fill up your reels too much, too fast. This one's too big. They're just too big. They're not worth it. Don't even buy it. These are mono. I don't like using mono. I'm always using braid. I know there's people out there like mono, blah, blah, blah. When it comes down to ruining your reel, blah, blah, blah. You guys are a little bit anal when it comes down to that. I love you guys. Don't worry. I still love you, even though you're mono users, but I'm not a mono person. They're just too big. I mean, a 10 kilogram is at 0.344. Unless you're fighting something small like, you know, bream, tench, whatever, it's not really worth using mono. But it's up to you. Even if you do decide to go with mono, I still wouldn't go with these here. They're just too thick compared to the mono that's on the tackle shop. Let's talk about your lures here. I've had these for 3 years. I have caught 4 pike. I really, really, really would like to see these become stupid, ridiculously active. But I've had them for 3 years and I've only caught like 4 pike on them. Probably not really good for you guys to buy. They're heavy, they're nice to cast, but they just don't really catch anything, to be completely. I think I caught a perch the other day on one when I was trying it. I've tested them out this year. These, same exact thing. They look awesome, just like the handmade lures, but I think I've caught like 1 pike on the silver one, and that's all I've ever caught on it. So, I wouldn't purchase them if you're a new player. Even if you're like a higher level player, don't waste your silver on them. There's no reason to. When it comes down to these are actually nice. You guys ever seen a spiker? Let me show you spiker. Okay, these are your spiker 2s. Your spiker 2s. Look at these nice pretty colors. Black, red, blue. I'm colorblind, so I don't know if I think this might be gold. One of them's green, whatever. They're about 48, 49, 50 silver. Okay. These ones are the exact same color combinations as spikers, but they're ever so slightly smaller. These are actually great. If you are a new player and you're looking to buy 1 or 2 of these, I would pick between one of these 3 first. Probably one of these 2 out of those 2. Actually, you know what? Let me rephrase that. This is the absolute first one that I would get right here. This one will go all day on Boilies River and all night on Boilies River. It'll go all day and all night on Tunguska. Pretty much anywhere the spikers will work, this will pretty much work. This blue one right here, all day, all night. After that, I would probably go with the black one. This is I don't think this is dark black, but it's dark. I would probably go with this one next. Then I would probably go with one of these 2 next. And then I would buy the next ones, you know, maybe this one. Whenever you have the silver, you don't need to buy them all. But like I said, I would at least go with this one first, because blue's a great color when it comes down to Boilies River, Tunguska River. And then one of these 2 next, and then this one here for nighttime. After that, it's up to you what you want to purchase, but these are actually really great. They're 18 silver each, and they are 4 stars, which means they're pretty damn good. When it comes down to this, these are beautiful. When it comes down to Tunguska and it comes down to Boilies River, I would do the exact same thing here. I would go with the blue one first. I would go with one of these 2 second, or one of these 3 second. I'd go with the black one third. For nighttime, I would definitely go with the red one, because this red color can become very active for a lot of browns, graylings, stuff like that. And then after that, it's up to you which ones you want to buy. As you can see, I've bought them all. I think I've got like 2 of them each. Yeah, I've got 2 each. Just in case you lose one. I think I've got 2 each of these as well. Yeah, I've got 2 each of those as well. So that is for your lures. When it comes down to this stuff, people look at this and go, I don't think we really need it. This is a neutral flavor. When it comes down to all of these, I would buy them in 20s, because 15 is a little bit small. 25 is a little big. I just go with the 20s. This is a neutral. This is a non-binary flavored boilie, if you want, for the weird people who like to say boilie. But basically, this one has more for crushing up and putting these in your ground bait. This flavor, black pepper, I've seen active before. Caramel, honey, raspberry. I've seen all of these be active before on bear as well as amber lake. So if you are a ground bait, or not a ground bait, but a bottom fisherman, then you may want to consider it. The great thing about this is normally on the tackle shop, you're paying 15 silver, 12 to 15 silver for 25. Now you're getting 50. Okay, so you can pop 2 of these, and I've got 100 right there. Okay, you pop 4, I've got 200, and I'm probably going to do the same thing with all of these, just because I know for a fact that like sweet stuff like this works really well for like Bear Lake and stuff like that. So it's actually really, really good to do. And then every now and then they'll become active on Amber Lake, and you can use them. I bought the beetroot, never used it. I've also bought the corn syrup. Did I say beat the beetroot? No, I bought the beetroot. I didn't beat the beetroot, but I bought the beetroot, and I've never used it. The corn syrup, I have a feeling eventually it will become hot. I will try it every now and then, but I've purchased it. You don't really need to, but it's up to you. So when it comes down to these, use these for crushing them up into ground bait if you want to do that for like spot rockets and stuff like that. It's a neutral flavor. It's a non-binary flavor. And then you can use these ones for your sweet flavors for like bear or amber or whatnot. When it comes down to this is your inline cage. I have bought 2 of them and I've never used them. I've actually bought 2 each and I've never used them. I don't use inline fishing very much. If you're someone that uses bottom paternoster, you don't really need these. If you're someone who uses inline a lot, you can actually get these for dirt freaking cheap, and they're really, really good. But I've never actually used mine, so it's up to you. When it comes down to floats, this float right here is just a fun little cheap float you can use. I didn't really like it, but it was funny watching it float down the river, so I bought one. When it comes down to this one, I just kind of like to have a variety of floats. This one's a 65 gram. It's pretty good. It's a bait fishing float, so it's not too bad. You can go ahead and buy that one, and it's kind of worth the money. Not really a big deal. When it comes down to these 3 are actually carp floats. I use 12 grams most, but I actually have, I think, like 2 of each. I've spent a lot of money just buying these for carp fishing. They are really, really high in the water. They stand up very high in the water. I'm colorblind. I have a problem with my floats actually going blending into the background, so I need a lot of different colors that I like to try out. I usually use the 12 grams on this, so if you want to try these 3 out, they're basically for like using your pop-up rigs or your sinking classic boilie rigs and your snowman rigs, stuff like that for carp fishing. So the greatest thing right here that I highly suggest you buy multiples of is if you're somebody who likes to go fish for bait fish like bleak and stuff like that. These are the most sensitive floats in the game, and what they do is they'll lay down on the water. If I can get it to lay down, no, yeah, there. If you can get it to lay down, it'll lay down on the water, and then when something starts biting, like a bleak, it'll start to pop up. Okay, it'll start to pop up like that, just a little bit, and then when it takes it, it pops up straight up and down, and then it goes under, and you can go ahead and hit it. When it comes to bleak fishing, when it comes to dace, rough, anything like that, when it comes to float fishing, these are fantastic because they are so stupid ridiculously light. 1.8 grams, 1.3 grams. I've got like 4 each of them, and I wait for these every year because I lose a couple of them every single year, and I come back and I buy them. They're dirt cheap, 5 silver a piece. So definitely, if you're a float fisherman that likes to float fish for bleak and stuff, get a few of those. All right, let's talk about this stuff up here. Let me pull up my notes. This is, you need to be careful if you're a beginner, because when it comes down to these, you come in, turn this on, telescopic rod. See, my happy hour is ended. See, I did sacrifice my happy hour for you guys. Telescopic rod in here, and then you come over here and it says Boilies rod. Be careful. I've accidentally bought some of these before in the past and realized they weren't what I wanted. I thought this one was like a telescopic rod and it was a spinning rod, so I had to sell it back. But basically what it comes down to is this is your hazel fishing rod. If you're somebody that's worried about, they changed the price on this. Before they did their update yesterday, it was only 49 silver. They changed their price on it. It was only 49 silver yesterday. That sucks. That really sucks that they did that. The Hazel fishing rod, if you're worried about your telly stick, which is this one right here, you shouldn't be worried about it when it comes down to fishing the event. Usually it's only 4 kilograms. It's usually just fine to use it. I actually have a red stick that's an 8 kilogram that works pretty well, that I don't have to worry about breaking it on kettle prods or kettlebells. This is a Hazel fishing rod. If you had purchased it yesterday for 49 silver, congratulations. But today they raised it to 89 silver, and I think it's kind of stupid that they did that. But it is 6.5 kilograms, so it is what it is. If you want to go ahead and buy that, it's up to you. But I don't know. 49 silver yesterday was great, but now 89. I don't know if it's really worth it. When it comes down to the Polmore Ryzen Telly Rod and Scope and Stick, basically what this is this is a 9.1 kilogram. And you can get a light, I think. It's a medium light. What do I have? So it's a great telly rod because it's a light and there isn't a weight. It's actually a medium light. Why did I say it was a light? It's a medium light. I was thinking it was a light. But I was thinking there isn't a weight of 9.1 in a light telly stick on the tackle shop. However, I just realized this is a medium light and not a light. So there is actually medium lights that are around load capacity of 9.1. The reason you might want to consider this as a medium light is because it gives you 25 to experience. Okay, but it is fairly cheap. It's not too bad. And my, where is it? My red stick right here. This bad boy was 8 kilograms and it was about the same price. So this one is 9 kilograms, 9.1, and it's about the same price. So it's actually a pretty good deal, even though it is still a medium light. All right, so the next one we're going to talk about is the VJ, the VJJ Rod Maker's excellent pole. And basically what I've got down here is it's a very expensive pole. But what you're paying for on this is you're paying for plus to skills, okay? Including it being a light pole that gives 50% to experience, okay? There is a rod on the tackle shop that is similar, but it's cheaper, but it doesn't have the +1 to skills, and it's called the Silverfish. It's a Silverfish telescopic rod, but it's basically exactly the same as this, but it doesn't have the skills on it, okay? It's just got the 50% experience, which is cool, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper than this. So if you're looking for the +1 to skills, and you don't want to spend this much money, get the Silverfish on the tackle shop. If it comes down to this, you're really only paying for the plus to skills. And at 7.1 kilograms, I don't know, guys. As a light pole, it's just iffy, in my opinion. But it's really up to you if you want to go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and talk about this Boilies rod, the Ryasian SK6 thing. It's 9.1 kilograms. It's a 6-meter pole, so it's nice and long in your hands. Feels great. Mass is 439. Basically, with this one, it's a bolo rod that is a little shorter and a little lacking on the weight limit side compared to what is called a Mecta. This is the Mecta right here. This is a Mecta Bolo rod, 10 kilograms, 268 grams, 5 meters long. The other one's a little bit longer than this one, but this is a Bolo that I use, and it's fairly cheap. It's not super expensive, while this one is $9.95. So honestly, I would buy the Mecta just because of the higher load capacity. Plain and simple. Just 10 kilograms for about the same price. I would kind of just do that instead. Buy the Mecta instead of this one. Then you've got the Polmore Ryzen SKS. I cannot say these names. Why do they got to make them so difficult? 16 kilogram. It's a spinning rod. 16 kilogram. It's a light rod. Okay. And it's 50% to experience. It's got a good weight. It's got a good price. Okay. It's lower than most on the tackle shop. It's a light rod, so it gives 50% experience. And the sensitivity is way below 5. Now, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the sensitivity is way below 5. What does that mean? That means that you're going to have a hell of a time, if not impossible time, trying to get a walk the dog on it or trying to get a twitch on it. It's going to be very difficult for you to do. If you're okay with that and you want the experience, that's fine. But I will never, ever buy this rod because of that sensitivity rating alone. You will not be able to get the walk the dog on it, and you might be able to get a twitch, but your walking the dog is going to screw the pooch when it comes down to that. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to talk about these down here. The Marshall. Now, the Marshall is a good mech at 24. It has a 24 mech weight, which beats the Pulsar and the Saber, which is on the tackle shop. Okay. It's a 9 kilogram drag weight, gear ratio of 3.1. So it's got a low gear ratio, which means it's got low, slow, great pulling feature when it comes down to fish. The thing is the Pulsar and the Saber are 9.5 and 10 kilograms when it comes down to the max drag. So they're a little bit better on their max drag. They also have better line capacity. Okay. So when it comes down to that, the drag weight and the line capacity you're lacking compared to the Pulsar and the Saber. You pay more for the Pulsar and the Saber, but you get a higher drag weight and a higher line capacity with this. Okay. However, I do believe the mech on this is at 24, which beats both the Pulsar, which is at the Pulsar is at 24 too, and the Saber's at 21. I do believe. So the Pulsar this kind of compares to the Pulsar, but it's a little bit less in the drag weight. I personally think it's great on that price range because the Pulsar and the Saber is going to be more expensive. This has still got a great max drag. You can use it on Quarry Lake if you wanted to start out there. It's actually a pretty decent rod when it comes down to the price, and it's vintage, so you can brag about it, I guess. When it comes down to the Pelangus, it's too expensive. It's not worth it. 1,249. It's just not worth it. 5.5 kilograms. Line capacity is fine, but when it comes down to it, it's just too expensive, plain and simple, and it's ugly as piss. So yeah, it's just not really worth it. All right, so let's look at the Tamara. When it comes down to the Tamara MT10, too expensive, not worth it. 5.2 kilograms. Yeah, it's a 1,000, which means it's a light reel. It's an ultralight fishing reel, but 1,500 silver. There's just better stuff when it comes down to ultralight reels. They're spinning reels on the low profile casting reel side of it. Casting reels are a little bit better when it comes down to ultralights, low profile casting reels. So when it comes down to that, I prefer to send people to the low profile casting reel category. You're going to pay a lot more money, but it comes down to they usually have a little bit better line capacity. It's got a max drag. It's a light reel. I just don't think it's worth it. I mean, it's got a decent price, but it's still too expensive in my opinion. But I've always thought ultralight stuff is too expensive as well. So it's really up to you guys when it comes down to that. Let's check out the Trident Full Metal 60. The Full Metal 60 is a pretty good reel. It's got a 49 mech weight. It's got a good drag weight of 18.2 kilograms, and it's actually got a decent price of 5,498. You're probably looking at that going, what? That's a decent price, Mystic? Well, if you think about it, something that compares to this, let's see if I have one off of, no, I do not. 3B is your Siberia Caliber 80 SLC. It's 19 kilograms after you upgrade the max drag. It's got higher line capacity and it's got the gear ratio. It's a carp fishing, long casting, great pull rod. In the end, when it comes down to it, they are very close to the same price, but you can upgrade the Caliber 80 SLC to a 19 kilogram max drag, which ends up beating this one when it comes down to versatility. However, if you don't ever plan on upgrading it, then this is actually a really good priced reel. It's not bad at all. 18.2 kilogram it starts out with, and it's got a pretty good, decent line capacity. But again, the Caliber beats it out on all of the points once you actually upgrade it. Okay, so it's up to you if you want to go for that. The Tamara Silver 80. Basically with this one, you've got a 67 mech weight on it. It's got a decent drag weight of 23.6. Okay. It's got a good line capacity. It's got a great price on it. A great price. Okay. It is, in my opinion, this is one step down from a Tagara 10,000. and it's half a step up from a Tagara 8000. So if you were to go and look on the tackle shop, half a step down, or a full step down from a Tagara 10,000, half a step up from a Tagara 8000. When it comes down to the drag reel, the line capacity, it actually could compare pretty well to a Tagara. It's just a little bit below a Tagara. It's a little bit below the Overlord as well. It's a good price. It's actually a pretty good reel, especially with the 23.6 kilogram max drag. But I don't think it's upgradable. I'm not for sure. It's kind of actually pretty cool looking. I like the way it looks. But in the end, it's got great line capacity and stuff like that. But it's just a little bit lower, a full step below the Tagara 10,000 and half a step up from the Tagara 8000. Now, let's talk about what everybody else is talking about in here. This is the creme de la creme, the pizza resistance or the pizza resistance in this whole event that everybody's talking about, the Overlord 88. It's new. Everybody's looking at it, no, it's not new. It's the same thing. It's the old one was the Overlord 87. This is the Overlord 88. This is actually one step up above it. It is a carbon copy of the 87, though. I've gone and looked through all the stats. The stats are all exactly the same. 24.5, same exact line capacity. The only thing is we don't know what the mech weight is as of yet. The mech weight for the 87, I believe, was 80 kilograms. It was 80.5 kilograms. Okay. So as this being one of the main attractions, a lot of people really like this, but it is a carbon copy of the 87. It's not really actually new. Basically, what is this reel? This reel is a Megara with a slightly less drag weight and a slightly larger line capacity. And when I mean a slightly larger line capacity, it's literally 10 meters more on the line capacity, and that's it. Okay, so it is a badass reel. This is a monster reel. It's just like a Megara, just slightly less on the max drag and slightly more on the line capacity. The price is fantastic. It's cheaper than the Venga. It's cheaper the Venga 8000. It's cheaper than the Tagara 10,000. It's cheaper than Megara 10,000. Okay, it's at 17,000. This is a great reel. This is what everybody kind of waits all year for because you can get it for cheap and it has a fantastic drag weight, a fantastic line capacity. I do not fault anybody for purchasing this over a Megara or a Tagara. It's a great, fantastic reel. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about these. The Minister. People raved about this for the first year. Then the second year, everybody's like, this sucks. Then the third year, everybody was like, this sucks. It's up to you. Let's talk about the tricks of the Minister. Okay. It's got a decent drag weight at 5.5, or not drag weight. I'm sorry. That's test. Drag weight at 8.6. But it's a little bit lower than like the Saber and the Pulsar, which you can use to effect on Quarry Lake. But this is 8.6. I've tried this. I have it. I own it. I've tried it on Quarry. Because of the new weights, I didn't like it on Quarry Lake at all. It's actually okay on Belaya. It's okay on Tunguska. The problem is the test is where the problem is at. The test is at a 5.5, and usually with these small reels like this, you're going to be using tests. You're going to be using lures that are at 4 point something, 3 point something, 2 point something. If you go into these up right here, where are they? These are literally some of the smallest mass lures you're going to see in the game, 2 grams. Okay, so you have to be careful of that. You have to watch out. And the Minister can't really get a good cast with them. The Minister can do okay on Tunguska's small river because you don't need to cast too far. But when it comes down to Belaya River and you're using those super lightweighted tests or lightweighted lures, its casting distance sucks. And it does affect considerably. Okay, so it doesn't really have the greatest line capacity either, unless you stay between 12 and 15 kilograms braided line. It's a light reel, considered light. So if you use a light rod with it, you can get a bonus of 50% of experience. I personally use a medium light pole with it. So if I show you my setup right here, that is totally not my setup right here. Ethnic. I use the Ethnic. I use a medium light rod that has a load capacity of 20. With this, you want to have at least double the max drag. So you want at least a rod with 16 kilograms of weight on it. Okay, anything less than you're gonna the minister will actually have too much of a heavy drag weight on it, and it can actually make it so you can't actually put your brake up to 29 when you utilize it. Okay, so it's not bad. It's just there's just so many better options when it comes down to like Belaya and Tunguska River. I just don't recommend it for anybody. Basically on my notes, I've got it's got a decent drag weight, not the greatest line capacity unless you stay between 10 to 15 kilograms braided line weight. It's a light reel, needs a medium light or a light pull that will cost a decent amount. Has a 5.5 test on the reel, which causes trouble for the lures you use on it. It's got a fantastic mech weight of 54.7. So if you wanted to go to quarry and you wanted to have a big enough line and a big enough, you know, lure or leader, you could actually do a little bit of locking up on some smaller fish because it's got a 54.7 kilogram mech weight. Okay, that's its only saving grace in my opinion. It's too light for quarry when it comes down to its drag weight, and it's too heavy of a test to get a decent cast in Belaya River. So it's good for Tunguska and slightly heavier lures, but most of the lures used in Tunguska are the same used on Belaya River, so the cast will also be shorter during that. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of too light for quarry. It's too light for Tunguska, but you kind of can get kind of a casting out of it. It's hard to say. A lot of people love it. I bought it and I just don't like it. I just don't like it, unfortunately. Okay, so the Castmaster LGR 1973 MC MK142. Nobody knows the mech weight on this so far. The price is too high compared to the other reels, drag weights, and line capacity in the same weight class. You're paying $4 grand for it when you can get the same type of reel for $2 grand on the tackle shop. It's just not really worth it, in my opinion. That's Merlin saying hi. You guys forgot, he is my African gray parrot. This was a surprise to me, this reel right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you why. This SOB has a 106 kilogram mech weight on it. This is a fantastic starting reel for catfishing, for locking up. If you buy a Barracuda rod with this, which has 90 kilogram drag weight, this has 106 drag weight. It's 7,000, 8,000 basically, and it has a 106 kilogram mech weight, not drag weight, 106 kilogram mech weight, but it also has a decent drag weight at 18.2. Okay, this is actually a pretty good starter catfish reel. I was really surprised when I looked at this in-depthly and I looked at the mech weight. My mech weight made me fall off my chair. I couldn't believe it. I'm actually considering purchasing this myself. Okay, it's a 500 series, which means there's 600, there's 800 series, so it's actually a slightly smaller reel. They use it for power fishing and jerking from what it says, so you can do some jerkbait stuff with it. Like I said, the drag weight's great, 18.2, awesome low test. The test is from 11 grams. This is what, when you look at casting reels, the lower the size is, so 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, you're going to get a lower test. These tests are awesome because you can cast them with light lures from the beach and you can spin with them. You don't have to go trolling with them at all times. That's a very low test for such a heavy mech weighted reel. Okay, so it's got an awesome test. It's got a great line capacity. It's got a fantastic price. It's an amazing mech. It's any other casting reels around this weight category really can't compare. Okay, so this is actually a fantastic starter catfish reel if you want to start locking up and try locking up on like a Barracuda rod. I'm seriously considering buying this before this event is over. Anyway, that is all I've got for you guys. I know this ended up being a lot longer video, but hopefully I went over everything, show you guys a little bit what it's about, if it's worth it or not. Just stay away from this guy because I swear to God, he's constantly, see, he's moving, freaking me out. So that's pretty much it. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't hit it, just don't hit it. So no matter what you do, make sure you subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. It helps me out with the algorithm. I'm glad to be back. I'm not sure how often I'll be posting. I apologize for the year wait, but I had a heart attack. And if you guys would like to hear the story of that, get down in the comments below and let me know if you'd like to know the story of that. I'll do some fishing while I tell you guys the story about that. It was kind of freaking crazy. Anyway, keep gaming, keep doing it midnight. Have a blast. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Have a good one. Have a nice one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.